Hello, I'm Gemma and this is Non-Fic Books and welcome back to Non-Fiction November 2015. As always, I will put the links down below to mine and Olive's videos as well as the two playlists, as to the Goodreads page as well, where I hope there's a little bit of a conversation going on about non-fiction books, which is absolutely fabulous. So, this week was my autobiography slash memoir slash biography choice. And this isn't the book that was on my TBR to read. But yeah, I love Susan Hill's writing, especially her non-fiction writing. I've only just started to read some of her fiction writing, but so far that's very good. And I just connect with her very, very well. So this got recommended to me on my video of Howard's End is on the Landing. And oh my goodness, thank you so much, because this was wonderful. This particular edition was published in 1983 by Penguin and it's 199 pages long, so it is quite a short little book. Susan Hill's writing is just beautiful. Her descriptions are wonderful, she keeps me just flowing the whole way through the book. I don't want to put it down and I find it really, really evocative. This is following her living in the village that I believe she now still lives in, and this is a good few years later. And it's her and the village and the countryside around for the year that she is writing about. And that's it, really. There's no plot or point or anything other than the beauty and the sort of celebration of nature and countryside living, which I live in the countryside and I'm a really big country girl, and this just really I connected to hugely. Her writing is just glorious. If I could ever have written a book, this is the book I would like to have written. It is, oh, I loved it. Can you guess? I really, really liked this book. It is broken up into 4 main sort of group of chapters, and that's per season: autumn, winter, spring, and then finishing off with summer. And at the beginning, I'll just have to find you one of these, they have the most beautiful engravings for each season. They're absolutely gorgeous. And then in between those, if I can find them, they're at the end of every individual chapter. There's small little engravings as well. So it's a really, really beautiful book overall. And in between each individual sort of group, she breaks it down into smaller sections. So she looks at the cottage that she lives in with her family, the countryside and nature around her, festivals going through, the weather, and it is just really beautiful. You get a really sort of accurate picture of this woman living in a beautiful part of the country, and I think I did connect to it because I do know that part of the country very well, and while I don't know this particular village, I know the scenery she's talking about. It really sort of, it's home to me, it's where I grew up. Well, it's my childhood home. Home is now Yorkshire, but this was very emotive because of that as well for me. I am not sure about recommending this book because I think you'll either be like me and you'll love it and you'll think it's beautiful, you'll really connect to it, or you'll just think, what is this? Why have you written this? Why am I reading this? Because there isn't a big overall point to it. You're not going to learn about a particular figure in history. It's not going to open your eyes to something unknown, but it is just such a beautiful, quiet celebration of the countryside and small village life. And it's also very interesting because it was written in the early 80s to see how much has changed and how much is still quite the same in small villages everywhere. It's definitely a sort of slow reading book. I love the slow movement. I am just totally all about taking time a little bit more to slowly appreciate things more fully rather than rush and do things at high speed and just do everything. But if you're more a do as much, really dramatic sort of person, this is definitely not going to be the book for you. As you can see, mine is a second-hand copy and it is slightly falling to pieces with some of these pages coming out. And you can't actually buy it new at the moment apart from through the printing press that Susan Hill set up, and that is a hardcover copy and it's about £20, so that has actually made its way onto my Christmas list, and if I don't get it for Christmas I'll be treating myself to it because I think this is one book that I will be returning to for years and years to come, and it's going to go on my very little pile of books I could never part with, which most books I'm quite ruthless. They go, I don't hold on to books particularly, so there's a very small amount of them, and I think this has just made its way on. So I really enjoyed this book, and Non-Fiction November has got so much better. The first book was a massive disappointment, and the next two have been fabulous, but I think this one wins for me, even though I think the Almost Nearly Perfect People that I reviewed last week is more people will enjoy it. I think this is going to be a slightly Marmite book, but I think it's beautiful. So yeah, I'd recommend it if you think you like the sound of it. If you don't, this book is not going to change your mind, I don't think, even though it is very beautifully written, but it is for if you're like me and you love the whole slow reading sort of thing. Yes, hugely beautiful book, and I absolutely loved it. So what have you been reading in Non-Fiction November? Let me know down below, and if you've got any questions or comments, as usual again, please leave them down below. Hopefully I will see you next week for the final Non-Fiction November book that I'll be reading, and that is The End of Night, which is my science and nature pick. So hopefully I'll see you then. Bye!